Hello everyone, this is Lying Figure, and today I'm here playing Silent Hill 4, The Room. Now I was going to play this once I upgraded my computer, but the delivery for my case keeps getting delayed, so I'm going to record the first few parts on my older computer. Now thankfully I was able to fix the issues I'm having, so it shouldn't be a low frame rate or anything like that. Now this is probably, honestly, the worst PC port of any of the Silent Hill games. At least 2 through 4, since they're the only ones that have them. Because there's a few different issues with it. Some resolution and texture issues, the cutscenes when the game shipped only run at 15 FPS, which has been fixed by a fan patch, thankfully, and several other odd factors like that. But I've fixed just about everything I can, and it should be running pretty well. Now, this is the only intro, because it's really pre-rendered, this is the only cutscene that will still run at a very low frame rate and very slow, and you can kind of tell. So this is just the menu intro kind of cutscene. It looks very blurry and low resolution, and runs at a slow frame rate, as you can tell. Again, just only cutscene that can't be fixed. Every other one will look good. So before I begin, I want to talk about a common myth about this game, which is that it wasn't meant to be a Silent Hill game. Which is not true. It was always planned to be a Silent Hill game, and at first it was just going to be Silent Hill The Room. It was going to be a spin-off rather than Silent Hill 4, but really the 4 is negligible. When you already have 2 that's completely unrelated to the plot of 1 and 3, I think people give it too much of a hard time, and there's always so many myths about it. It was always a Silent Hill game, and you can definitely tell when we play. So this playthrough is going to be pretty much the same as the others. It might be a little bit different. I might forget a few things. I've taken notes, but I don't have it in front of me, and I don't know it as well as 2 or 3, but before I began 1, I knew this one better, so I think we're going to be just fine playing through it. If I do forget anything, of course I will edit it in, or you know how it goes if you've seen my other videos. Anyways, let's begin. Let's not wait too long here. So this game's a little bit different when it comes to combat, but there's a few things I'll explain along the way. Sorry, I'm just talking to fill the time because of this stupid intro. So we're going to start a new game, because when I try to load the game, we see that I have no save data. Now I've played the game twice. I got almost to the end once, and then I've beaten it one other time, which is much more recent, and for some reason all my save data's gone. I honestly don't know why. I might have messed with the files or something, but anyways, let's hit new game. Now this beginning part will be pretty cutscene heavy, so I'll be quiet for a while, I'm sure. Okay, so let me just walk a bit, and we'll hear the loud screaming noise from Wolfenstein. So, this game is, the first thing we'll notice is that it begins in first person, which because a major theme of the game is being locked in this room 302. It's an apartment, so this whole apartment, not just this bedroom. But there's things all over, and you can tell this looks pretty old and decayed right now. But we can investigate quite a few things. What's with this room? It's covered in blood and rust. So everything's kind of messed up in here. So you'll notice it doesn't look that great. I mean, every texture looks pretty low resolution. It looks noticeably blurry. It doesn't look very good. And thankfully, this is fixed because the majority of the game is in third person. It's just these room sections that are in first. I'm not sure why it's like this because even in first person in the other games, there are some camera tricks people use to go into a sort of first person mode, and it doesn't look this bad or blurry or low res. So why that is, I'm not sure. It's not just a PC thing. I think maybe it's because on consoles it looked more normal, but then when you stretch it to a PC resolution, it looks noticeably worse. Anyways, let's explore the apartment a bit. And there's some TV static going on here. And things are a bit odd in here. We can see the door. The door is shut for good. It seems to be binded to the wall. These shoes, they're not even my size. Let's check out the static TV. Where did this big TV come from? I thought I had a record player here. It's part of an old picture book. There was once a baby and a mother who were connected by a magical cord, but one day the cord was cut and the mother went to sleep. The baby was left all alone. But the baby made lots of friends at the wish house, and everyone was very nice to him. The baby was happy. It's ripped here, and I can't read anymore. There's a face here. Creepy. It looks like a face. And over here is another interesting picture of some guy. Who is this guy? Yeah, who is that guy? Why do we have a framed photo of him in here? And there's a radio over here. I don't even know what this is. This clock, when did it stop working? Did I even have a clock in this room before? Huh. Uh-oh.
Oh man. What a dream. cord's cut.
So that's pretty much the beginning intro cutscenes. There's a little intro there that, well, you can see in this apartment where it's the same apartment, but it's a bit more not as degraded. It looks much better texture and resolution wise. So maybe it's just the weird effect they put on all the walls, that weird texture, or you know, I'm not sure exactly what it is, but it's just pretty strange. Anyways, let's look at this phone. So it's unplugged, of course, but it was still doing things. And you can actually make calls on this to certain phone numbers you'll see throughout the game. I think there's like one main one, but we'll get back to it. So the controls for this first person area, it might look a little bit natural, but sometimes they'll do weird turns, which is because I'm used to, of course, WASD, D and A would cause you to strafe, but instead it'll turn you here. And well, I have set it so you can turn with the mouse as well. I sometimes forget. Anyways, let's look around Henry's apartment. That is the name of our character, is Henry Townshend, and we'll talk about him in a second. Let me just show you this picture first. There's a photo of the church I ran across while I was visiting Silent Hill. For some reason, I was really attracted by the way it looked, so I took a picture. So this, if you remember in Silent Hill 1, is the Balkan Church, which is the church that we see in, well, Silent Hill 1. It is not in fact the church or chapel that we see in Silent Hill 3, which we know because the main area is different and all that. It's too small, it doesn't make any sense. The third game's chapel church at the end of the game is most likely some sort of mix of supernatural, otherworld, not actually existing areas, and also part of some either underground church or one on the outskirts of the town. So yeah, just a cool picture, and I wanted to show you that first so I have a bit of a segue into talking about Henry. And if you saw him in the cutscene, you might recognize him as, who is this guy? That guy in the photo that we saw in that beginning walk around the apartment cutscene. So if we were playing as Henry, why was he asking, who is Henry? Right? So there's already something up, right off the bat. And that's not really a spoiler, I mean, you can figure that out through simple deduction. And we can look around. Henry has things to say about a lot of things, or he has things to say about just about every single picture in here. Quick shot I took in downtown Silent Hill. It's a nice tourist town about half a day's drive from here. It's a photo of the lighthouse near the lake in Silent Hill. It feels a bit lonely for a tourist town, but it's a nice place to relax and heal your soul. Of course, because although it has a terrible and sordid history, Silent Hill is a famous tourist town technically in Maine. And it's going to force us to look out the window here at, as you can see, everything looks low resolution, doesn't look very good. Again, a symptom of this game and not any of the others, really. Not sure what it is, lazy development, or just maybe, some of the first-person stuff they were experimenting with made it hard. They didn't have enough time to focus on it. Or maybe it's just a console to PC port thing, and it looks less noticeable on the consoles. Any number of factors could be it, or it could be all of them combined. Whoa, that guy's booking it over there. You see him? That's pretty funny. So we watched a woman walk into the subway, and we can actually, if I use the left mouse button, I can actually click and knock on the window. I don't know if you can hear that, but what is that guy doing? Is he cleaning his window, or is he just about to jump? Goodness gracious. So you can see this is the apartment building we live in, and it's kind of a U shape so we can see across the way. That will be kind of important later. It's a bit of a rear window situation. I believe Rear Window did inspire this game a bit. And let's actually look at that. Bar Southfield 555-3750. So before we talk about Henry, let's just try that out. I've actually never called that number before, so 555-3750. It's just ghosts. That's pretty funny. That noise, what was that? That's pretty funny. I hadn't actually done that before. I like that. Okay, so let's talk about Henry a bit. Um, you know what? I keep saying that. Let's actually get to a place where we can see him, just so it's a bit better that way. I'm not just standing staring at nothing. When you can actually see his design and what he looks like, that'll be much better. So we can look around the whole apartment. We can go in every room, but there's no point just yet. Let's check out some of the... Oh, it'll make me look at this box. This chest could hold a lot of stuff. So this is sort of your Resident Evil item box. Only has an appearance in 1 through 4 at least. It only appears in this game. I don't know if they... It says player down there. It seems like something maybe they would put, like, allow you to name yourself. You know what, never mind, because your name is already Henry. That just seems weird to put that there, as opposed to just lines, but... It's a photo of me as a kid, and then when I graduated from high school. There's a tissue box here. And there was a face here before. Now it's all normal. The main power is off, so even if I press it, nothing happens. It's weird, a few days ago the power to my TV and my VCR just stopped coming on. Ever since I started having those nightmares. Clock here. Clock stopped working a few days ago. Everything is kind of messed up. And there's a little scraps from some book tucked behind this bookshelf here. Man, this thing looks like it was written ages ago. Through the ritual of the Holy Assumption, he built a world. It exists in a space separate from the world of our Lord. More accurately, it is within, yet without the Lord's world. Unlike the world of our Lord, it is a world in extreme flux. Unexpected doors or walls, moving floors, odd creatures, a world only he can control. Anyone swallowed up by that would live there for eternity, undying. They will haunt that realm as a spirit, but how can our Lord forgive such an abomination? This part of the book is too damaged to read. It is important to travel lightly in that world. He who carries too heavy a burden will regret it. The book is too damaged to read anymore. Interesting. Something about Silent Hill. So we can look out this window also. It's locked. Or at least just stuck. Or maybe we can't look out of it? Huh. I swear you can. Maybe later in the game at least. So the picture of Henry over here is now replaced. This is a picture of the outside of South Ashfield Heights, which is this apartment building. I was immediately attracted by the outside of the building as well as the view from the window here. When I moved here 2 years ago, I almost felt like I was being drawn to here. And there's a big picture here. And I just want to point out this picture is actually a redone and grayed out a bit picture of Venice. He'll say it's a Silent Hill, but it's of Venice. I got this photo from Frank Sunderland, the super here at South Ashfield Heights. Frank Sunderland. Where have we heard that name before? Well, that's James Sunderland's father, actually, is the super of this apartment, is Frank Sunderland. That's pretty cool, I've always thought. And he too does some odd things, at least one, much like James did, reaching the toilet without picking up his, or rolling up his sleeve, just leaving his car parked haphazardly and with the door open, jumping down hole after hole that seem to have no bottom. Frank will also do some weird stuff, but anyways, there's actually a lot of Silent Hill 2 connections and references in this game, which is one reason I enjoy it so much, even if it's not, it's not as good as 1 through 3, I don't think, but it's still, as a horror game, kind of a classic, I'd say. So, that's still good. I don't really feel like cooking now. And let's look in the fridge here. There is white wine. I wonder if there's any shrimp to go with it. And also chocolate milk. Sure, I'll take the chocolate milk. Very sweet. It was in the refrigerator at home. And if we back away, the door will automatically close. So I might be off base. This might just be a random notepad, but its coloring makes it look like the save pad from Silent Hill 1. Unfortunately, you can't read what it says, so... Like I said, this apartment is completely normal, but I did leave out the fact that it's completely chained shut, quite overboard with the chaining. And I'll play a short cutscene here. 5 days ago, that's when I first had the nightmare. the nightmare. I haven't been able to get out of my room since then. The phone doesn't work, the TV doesn't work, I can't even get anybody to hear me yell. My whole world has suddenly turned insane. My door's chained off, the windows are sealed shut. And on top of that, someone chained the door from the inside. How am I going to get out of here? Interesting. Don't go out, Walter. So some text just materialized on the door.
What's going on here?
And we can look outside. And that's Eileen Galvin from next door.
Man. Hope my luck changes before the party.
And you can see all sorts of bloody handprints on the wall. Now what those mean we can touch on later. It's a bit of a spoiler now. Wow, something went wrong. And it'll take Henry about 16 years to react to it. What was that? Henry's like an MGS1 guard. What was that noise? So it says here, don't go out, Walter. Whether it seems to be saying that, it seems to be saying Walter as in, you know, sincerely Walter. Walter wrote it. What's this? Someone tucked a note under the door. Mom, why doesn't you wake up? That's pretty sad. Alright, so let's go check out what that incredible noise was. It came from... Actually, before we do that, I want to save up some space. So, I'm going to take the chocolate milk from the fridge and put it into this box where it's not refrigerated. I don't need white wine right now. I don't have any shrimp to go with it, so we're just going to check out the bathroom. Henry's no beaver boy. And looks like there's been a construction accident in my apartment because someone knocked a hole in the wall.
What the hell? Somebody in there? I wonder if I can get out this way.
So, Henry, with no other choice, will have to struggle his way out. Of course there's no one in the bathtub. That's kind of a weird thing to say. It isn't the time for that kind of thing. So the sewage pipe's broken too. Let's grab the steel pipe here and then enter the hole. And this is a great cutscene, or a great track, excuse me. Again, Akira Yamaoka, composer of the first 3 games, did this one as well. He's also sound director and everything. So, you know, the music is just as good as the other games. In fact, Silent Hill 4 is one of my favorites soundtrack-wise. I love the eerie hopelessness of Silent Hill 2 and the scariness of Silent Hill 3, but I like the odd, somber, but also just creepy feeling of 4. And we'll crawl towards the light until we emerge. So we crawled through a hole and ended up on an escalator. And here's the area where we can finally see Henry. And you probably can't tell just from me walking around, but it controls a lot differently. Shift is still run, but the WASD keys actually spin Henry instead of, like, more closer to tank-like controls. That's an odd system. But they wanted to revamp the controls and combat a bit for this game, which is probably the biggest noticeable difference. And like I said, in this area, now that we're out of the first-person sections, you can see that it doesn't actually look bad. It's on par with Silent Hill 2 and 3. Unfortunately, it's not surpassing it or anything. It doesn't look better than those, but it looks just as good. And now that we can see Henry, I'd like to talk about him. So Henry's name is it's picked very deliberately, and I just want to note that all the Silent Hill protagonists, I think, have really cool names. Harry Mason, James Sunderland, Heather Mason or Cheryl Mason, not really main character, but not playable character. Henry Townshend, Murphy Pendleton, always been strong, even in Downpour, which is not a great game. Murphy Pendleton's a cool name. So Henry's name was picked very deliberately because Henry means home ruler, and Townshend means, takes it from Townsend, kind of send off to the outskirts of the town. Basically it means at the extremity of a city, so home ruler of something secluded from a city. Of course, apartment 302, which is chained off, and he can't seem to escape, excuse me. And one noticeable difference in this game, you can't actually, oh, never mind. It's a big pipe. This looks like the South Ashfield subway station I can see from my apartment, but it's all wrong. This shouldn't be here. So you can interact with less items in this game. I was trying to make the point, but then I clicked on this and kind of proved myself wrong. But most items like this valve and everything, a lot of these things you just can't interact with, or you'll always get the same text. It's not that prevalent, but it's kind of noticeable in some areas. Like usually you'd be able to look at this, or whatever. Let's see if we can run up this. Nope. So the reason why there's photos all over Henry's apartment is because they wanted something that would... What's with this? Looks like this out. I don't think this should be here. It's because they wanted to give him at least a little bit of personality or something that sets him apart, because honestly he's very bland, and his voice actor, Eric Bosick, really likes photography. So they put pictures all around the apartment, which is a good way to put in references to other Silent Hill games as well. Because, as mentioned earlier, but I didn't touch on, this game takes place in Ashfield, which is a few hours away from Silent Hill. And because Frank lives here, Frank Sunderland, and there's some other hints specifically in the Book of Memories, we know that James Sunderland, Mary, Laura, and basically, that whole family kind of people are from Ashfield, and they lived here and everything. Anyways, we can use the scroll wheel and click on it to equip a pipe. And you can see there's a charge there, where you can charge up your swing. Again, a bit of a different system from Silent Hill, the other ones. But yeah, I'm struggling to, well, I'm not actually struggling, it's hard to think of much to say about Henry because he's very bland. Not much to say. I can show you some renders of him, like this one. And before we leave this area, I just want to say there's a nice piece of art of this, which I'll show here, which I think is just really cool. It's a neat visual. Anyways, let's head down this hallway, and we can see there's a person down there. So let's go say hello.